So whenever something hurts you, there are two options. You can either become wounded or you can become wise. This is the choice. The more things hurt you early on in your life, the wiser you should have become, isn't it? But unfortunately, most people become wounded. This is simply because they just need an excuse to turn their own intelligence against themselves, that's all.
What's real? Matter. It's like, okay, that's one answer. What's real? What matters is real. That's how you act. That's different than matter. What's the most real of what matters? How about pain? Why is it the most real? Try arguing it away. So pain is the fundamental reality. Doesn't that lead to nihilism and hopelessness? Yeah, doesn't it lead to a philosophy that's antithetical towards being? The most fundamental reality is pain. Yes. Is there anything more fundamental than pain? Love. Really? If you're in pain, love and truth, that's what you got. And you know, if they're more powerful than pain, maybe they're the most real things. Because if you're a scientist, a materialist, think, well,
where is the time to carry every experience like a wound? No. This must become your wisdom. If terrible things happen to you, you must become wiser than others sooner than others, isn't it? Your whole life is happening between these three dimensions: memory, present experience and imagination. We call them trikala, three dimensions of time. All your experience of life is happening here. But if you lose distinction between what is past, what is present, what is future, then everything hurts. For not everybody terrible things have happened. Unfortunately, for a few people they have happened. But the rest of the people are simply suffering something, isn't it? Because it's fashionable to suffer. People think if they're suffering, they are very intellectual, they are very profound. No, it's just stupid because you're suffering something that doesn't exist. So this madness has been encouraged simply because we never train people how to use their faculties. Do you agree with me that this human machine that you carry and I carry, this is the most sophisticated machine on the planet?
the matter is the most real. It's like, well, you don't know what the matter is. When push comes to shove, and it will, you'll find out what's most real.
It's hard, but it's worth fighting. It's worth believing. It's worth mustering yourself up, standing up inside yourself. It's worth fighting relentlessly, never giving up. I love the sun, but things don't grow because of the sun. You have to have some rain. And you've got to stop looking at rain in your life as something bad. My greatest moments didn't come from my greatest moments. My greatest moments came from my greatest defeats. Because it was during my defeat that I had to find a way to get back up.
Come on, you need to remember, this is not the first time you cried. This is not the first time you were short of breath. This is not the first time you didn't see a way clear. This is not the first time you were hurt. This is not the first time your heart was broken. This is not the first time you didn't have enough money. This is not the first diagnosis that came up from behind.
Are you gonna let this horrible situation dictate the way you feel and the way you handle it? Are you gonna fall over, fall down, fall apart? Or are you going to face this issue with courage and with resolution? You know darkness. So embrace that darkness. Don't look away from it. Own it. Step up to the challenge, no matter what you face. Start walking. Take that step.
Instead of trying to get rid of the integrities of life, we should be trying to get them built up strengthen them and give more power to that which is obviously the intention of the creating power. We need these things. We need obedience to universal law, and not obedience to the whining of ignorant and even criminal people. We need to understand nature, and there's no reason why a high school graduate shouldn't already know enough to live a clean life, not only for the length of time he expects, but maybe for a couple of extra 100 years if he does it right. We do not need to have all this vast experiment to try to prove something that's no good if we prove it. And if we kindly do prove it, then something comes along and disproves it almost immediately. We need to have a reasonable fear of being wrong, a natural fear, a natural anxiety. But this natural anxiety should incline us inevitably to correct the thing they're afraid of, so that we will no longer fear it. And we will discover that what we thought we feared was really a wonderful truth in disguise, which we were reluctant to accept. When we understand these things and understand them right, we won't have any problems. They're perfectly natural, perfectly reasonable. The archetype of the universe, the great trestle board of the heavens, is there. We know the infinite patterns of life. We see them traced in the rocks. We see them in the mountains and in the seas. We see life in every element. And wherever we see man, we see him destroying life. When man destroys enough life, he's going to destroy himself with it. There's no reason why everything that exists should be sacrificed to the whim of man, who doesn't even know why he exists or have any real interest in finding out. All he's interested in is being secure and prosperous and important for the few years of his life. Then he will disappear, and his moral problems will disappear with him, but they'll stay with us until somebody solves them. So we can get down to freedom from stress and tension. We all get tired, that's expected. We all have our little problems that we're not going to cure right away. But if we can get a basic set of values, knowing that if we keep the rules, they'll keep us. If we break the rules, they'll break us. And begin by recognizing what constitutes the foundations of a good life. The acceptance of responsibility. The recognition of the rights of others to succeed. The rights of all living things, animate and inanimate, to have their fulfillment in this world of which we are a part. That all things have a right to be considered. The flowers of the field are not there simply to be burned. The trees are not there simply to be chopped down. The animals are not there simply to be slaughtered. All these things have to be corrected and put in their proper relations. And when humanity becomes harmless, it will not be subject to harm. When it becomes aware of the values of life and the principles that it should understand and nourish and protect, it will have a peaceful existence. There's no reason why the human family should not be the brightest and noblest things on the planet at this particular time, and that all other forms of life should gather around it as children gather around the parents. That all the animals and birds and everything in the world would find its place in a world where everything is thoughtful of everything else.